everyone, and welcome to this closing ceremony of the Prix Strategis 2021. After what has been a really challenging year for everyone, we are really pleased to welcome you tonight at the Musée Olympique de Lausanne. You know, the Prix Strategis was one of the very first startup competition here in Switzerland. For 28 years, we have been selecting and awarding the best startups of the country, incredible startups that have grown into successful companies. I think that what makes the strength of the Prix Strategis is its people. On one hand, you have experienced people, the jury, who brings a strong expertise in many fields. On the other hand, you have students that are less experienced, but very dedicated and motivated, that organize the Prix Strategis. I think that this aspect is really what makes the Prix Strategis both unique and successful. But we are not there to speak about the Prix Strategis, not there to celebrate the Prix Strategis, but to celebrate you, entrepreneurs, who are leading incredible projects. This year we have seen the toughest competition ever for the Prix Strategis. We have had 111 startups contending for the award. And you can applaud. Thank you very much. And out of these 111 startups, we have the 5 best startups tonight. So congratulations again. It's really an achievement to be there tonight, dear entrepreneurs. I have nothing less to say. Thank you very much. Thank you for attendance tonight. I'm really pleased to welcome you again. I wish you a nice night and a great evening. Thank you very much.
So I take over. Well, good evening, everybody. Very, very happy to be with you tonight. My name is Jean-Philippe Bonardi. As you see, I'm former dean, so so I'm a bit of an imposter tonight. I probably shouldn't be there. My dear colleague Felicitas Morat, who is one of the vice deans, should probably be here giving the talk. But no, very, very happy to be with you. As Alexandre was saying, this year is a very special year, and it's certainly a very special year for the Prix Strategis. I'm sure that there's a good amount of people here in this room who are really waiting to know now, what is the final outcome and how this thing is going to last, since it's been going on and dragging a little bit more than in previous years, but we are close now, so that's good. What I wanted to tell you is that I think that and looking at it, in my position as former dean, that I think actually the Prix Strategis, at HEC Lausanne we have a lot of student associations doing a lot of wonderful things. And it's really, really good for our school, for sure. But really, the Prix Strategis is really one of the initiatives that I think is the most important for HEC Lausanne. And the reason for that is that actually this is probably one of the initiatives that is the closest to the school's mission. Right? At the moment, the way we see our mission in our school is actually to try to develop innovative minds to get ready for what we believe is actually a very important revolution of the economic system to come. We really believe that we are at a kind of a tipping point, and that this tipping point is connected to 2 things. First, to some challenges that we are facing and that we hear about pretty much every day: the climate challenge, the pressure on the social system, inequalities, and so on, and as a result, the pressure on the democratic system. So that's actually something that is really putting a lot of pressure on the system at the moment. And on the other end, there is something that is equally important in a way, but probably even more important. It's actually all the opportunities that are created by the new technologies, right, that we see developing in front of us. All the digital technologies, the production robotics, all the technologies related to energy, related to transportation. All these technologies really have the potential to create a new matrix, right, that will probably, push us into a different kind of production and trading system. Right? And therefore, will trigger a different kind of economy. So the mission for us, at HEC Lausanne is clearly to try to prepare our students to this kind of, this kind of coming world, or this new kind of economy, and also to open their eyes, right, as much as possible, to get them open to what's, to where the innovation is coming from and where these new ideas are coming from. And this is why I was saying that the Prix Strategis is a very, very important initiative on that front, because, as you could see, and pretty much in what Alexandre said and what was already presented, this is really an initiative that puts together, that creates the link, right, between our students, between our schools, and a fantastic ecosystem of startups and innovation, right? And I think that we will see that, later tonight with all the presentation from the startups. And I think this is actually really something that is tremendous and that is great for our school. So that was the first thing. The second thing why this Prix Strategis is, I think, very, very important for HEC Lausanne is because it's actually a student-led initiative from basically A to Z, right? I'm here, I'm speaking about it, but I didn't do much. Well, I'm part of the jury, so I did a little bit. But overall, I mean, everything is pretty much done by the students. It's organized by the students. And I think that, beyond, the carte de visite that it creates, it's also a really, really good, it's a fantastic thing for us. It's a fantastic opportunity for all the students who participate, right, in this, in the development of these things. They can develop a lot of capabilities around entrepreneurship, innovation, how to organize things, how to raise funds, how to make sure that, we break even at least financially, and so on and so forth. So I think for all the students, it's this Prix Stratégis is actually a very, very good one, right? And it's really a fantastic initiative. And I think that, and you'll see that again tonight. I mean, every year I'm amazed by how good a job they are doing, right? So it's also, also something that, of course, makes me proud and that I think is outstanding. So, congratulations, guys. Let's give them a round of applause already. You have to believe me on face value on this, but you'll see you won't be disappointed. The last thing, that I wanted to say tonight, and why this prize is important, but also probably why tonight, is very, very important, is because, as I said, I'm the former dean. My tenure as dean stopped on August 1st, so that's going to be the last one, the last Prix Stratégis to which I will participate as the dean. So, I'm very happy that the students let me actually give a little bit of, and participate directly and let me give this speech. It's always a very, very, it's a great pleasure to be here, great pleasure to participate in this. It's almost like a piqûre de rappel, right? Already, we're going to talk about vaccines later, right, Dan? So, so what I wanted to say before, becoming too emotional is that, it's been a tremendous experience for me to participate. I've been member of the jury for almost 10 years, and I've been the dean for 6 years, and before that, vice dean. So I've seen a lot of these things. I've tried to support, the Prix Stratégis as much as I could. But, when I look back, I realized that, I got a lot more than what I gave. So I would like to thank you very, very much, all the students. I know that there are a lot of alumni, right, from the previous years. In addition, to the team, to Carla, Alexandre, and so on, who are, running things this year. So, again, I would like to thank you very, very much for all these great years and all this share of experience. Of course, I'm leaving as dean, but the Prix Stratégis stays, and it's going to stay for long. So, long live the Prix Stratégis. Thank you very much, and have a good evening.
Before you sit down, we have a small gift for you, because, it never stops. It was your last year as a dean and also as a jury member, so I know you like golf, so we made a small trophy for you. I hope it suits you. Thank you very much.
Bonsoir, good evening. Shortly after Prix Stratégis last year, there was a report that came out, The Future of Jobs, November 2020, report by World Economic Forum. And I'd like to look at this report under a new regard and see what I think it could mean for the workplace and what could be called the new normal. Let's start with the why, Simon Sinek, right? Reskilling needs. The next 4 years, 50% of employees will need to be reskilled. This is humongous, huh? Never in the history of training, schooling institutions have we had such a need. No institution, by the way, is sized to reskill 50% of the population in 4 years. On top of that, most people probably will not appreciate taking 2 years off to do a new master's. They actually have work to do. How do we solve this problem? On top of that, since the beginning of COVID, 90%, 89% of employees are feeling less well from a mental health, well-being standpoint. This is not a good foundation to be able to build upon to move forward. By the way, on top of those 50% needing reskilling, 40% keeping their current position will also need reskilling. This is not about people leaving their jobs. This is about a regular reskilling across the board. Let's have a look one level deeper, close to us in Switzerland. Students that participated in my courses know I like interactivity. What do you think are the top jobs that are looked for right now in Switzerland? What are the top jobs that we're hiring for? Go ahead. Yes, actually, data analytics. Yeah, analysts, indeed. What else? I know we're becoming interactive. That's not usual, but what else do you think? Yeah, something around, indeed, social media, indeed, that plugs into that. What else? Nurse, actually, we would love to, but actually they're not in that. This was nearly 10 months ago, but indeed we would need nurses. You've heard actually there's enough hospital beds, but actually not enough people to man those hospital beds, and that's a big problem. Yeah, sorry, there was another answer? So definitely there should be. I'm close to that space, indeed. I hear about when we say 89% of people aren't feeling very well, their employer is not necessarily aware of that. Psychological offices are. Talk to those people you hear on the underwave of not well-being. That's where you hear about it. There was another answer? Okay, I'll show you the answers. These are the top 10 positions open right now in Switzerland. Data analysts, scientists, AI machine learning specialists, digital transformation specialists, etc. Strategic advisors, Internet of Things. You get the idea. What are the top jobs that you think are people, well, let's say, are made the most available, i.e. getting fired? The opposite. What are the 10 least hiring jobs or mostly made redundant right now in Switzerland? Lawyers? Actually, indeed, student lawyers, interns have a lot of trouble finding work because AI is replacing them. Reading 200 pages to find that phrase that's important. But not lawyers, actually. Banker? No. We would think, of course, cashiers, right, with self-checkouts, etc. Actually, those are, I think, number 8. They're actually at the bottom of the list, but there's people way, way above that. There's going to be a uh-oh moment in a second or two. What do you think? The number 1 in Switzerland being made redundant. Accountants, bookkeeping, and payroll clerks. Uh-oh. Number 2, data entry clerks. 3, administrative executive secretaries, accountants, and auditors. I know, HEC auditors, it doesn't mix very well. That's a joke. I have an English passport, matching sense of humor. Human resources specialists, okay. Financial analysts. Number 9, cashiers and ticket clerks. And when I talk to CEOs, to top managers, I hear a lot of problems about hiring. We have trouble hiring people. Even at the height of the unemployment, 6 months ago, there was a peak in unemployment in Switzerland. And I'm like, but this is strange. I have trouble hiring people, and yet there's unemployment. This is one of the very rare times in the work history where there's actually negative net unemployment, i.e. there's more positions opened than people available. But there's a big, big mismatch between the people made available or being made available and the positions opened. How do we fix that? That is an open question. Of course, you could say, you know, turning a cashier into an AI specialist may not be totally easy, but white-collar jobs are actually not protected anymore from this environment. If anything, blue-collars have had 20 years to get used to this new environment. White-collars not. I'll be very direct. 4,000 years ago, pharaonic times, accountant was a highly respected job, very highly respected job. It's taken half a generation, less than half a generation, to go from very highly respected to be one of the most made redundant jobs in Switzerland. We're not talking about worldwide, okay? Parents were proud that their children were accountants for the last 4,000 years, and yet, boom. So what happened here? Of course, technology, we talk about AI. I like calling it assisted intelligence rather than artificial. We're very, very far away from artificial intelligence. Actually, in the world of accounting, congratulations, instead of actually printing an invoice that then somebody else has to enter into the system, we're even actually connecting directly. We don't even have to print it. Congratulations, big, big progress. Sorry, my sarcastic side. Okay, this is not even AI. This has nothing yet to do with AI. AI is a much bigger disruptor than this. But what can we do then about this? I love this comparison, elephants and employees. You know, in certain countries, baby elephants are tied with chains to a post, to a fence, since they're born. We can discuss the humane treatment of elephants. That's not the goal here. But actually, as the elephant grows, he could easily have the strength to break that chain. But he's been mentally programmed to remain attached to this post. And when I intervene in large companies to instill an entrepreneurial mindset, it often takes 9, 12 months for the entrepreneurial teams to dare to ask their management, the selection committee, for something where the management finally can say no. After 9 months of active coaching, usually on a weekly basis, try to push the limits. You're an entrepreneur, try something new. 9 to 12 months until finally there's a big success. They dare to ask something where the selection committee says, sorry, that's out of bounds. So what I propose is going from this to this, okay? And we need to do this with employees. We talk about employee empowerment. I'm sorry, the whole schooling system is against employee empowerment. The schooling system is an outcome, the result of the first, second, third industrial revolution. The fourth industrial revolution, what got us here will not get us there. There needs to be a complete new system right behind that. And you know, in innovative environments, we talk about T profiles. So one broad understanding of a large number of subjects and one deep understanding of a specialty. And we look for these T profiles as ways of identifying them. Generalist, deep. This is in the computer science environment where we have one person that actually understands the impact of what he does on neighboring trades, right? Which, guess what? It actually is useful to make their life easier. And, okay, some criteria on what are T profile employees. But actually, T profiles, I have news for you. T profiles is actually old school. When in the job line you have certain people that actually do not really want or need vacation, do not complain about pay raises, those people actually, if you want to compete against them, you need to go from T to M profiles. I actually did not find a letter in our alphabet that has more than 3 deep understandings, right? But it's going to be at least 3. And these need to be some things that people are so good at, they don't realize that actually it's a job. It gives them energy to do these tasks. When I'm in my genius zone, training, sharing, learning is actually part of my genius zones. At the end of the day, when I've done a training with a large corporate, I actually have so much energy I cannot go to sleep. Okay, I need to find ways to calm down my energy so actually I am able to go to sleep. And this is what some people call work. I call it paid vacation. Okay. So going from T profiles to M profiles, my question I have for you is, Are your employees spending enough time in their genius zones? Because this is what will help them overcome this new normal and what will actually set the means, the vehicle to be able to go beyond the current system we are at. And I fully agree with Jean-Philippe. We need to find something to be able to go further because we're hitting all the limitations in that system. Thank you very, very much. Have fun. Thank you.
You know, one of the strengths we have at the Prix Strategis, I think, is the way how we analyze startups. And for that, we are using, I can say, HEC students who are going on the field, visiting startups, and we make a report and also a presentation of front of the jury. And I think it's a real strength we have with that. We have had 8 groups of students this year analyzing startups. And thanks to our sponsor, FIDAG, we have elected the best group of the year. And that was chosen by the jury. So I want to thank all students taking part in that course. I think it's an incredible experience for you. I hope you have enjoyed it. And we will now welcome on stage the winner of this edition. So welcome, José, Maria, Valentin, Antoine, André. So, as the president of the jury, André will give you your certificates. And I think that after that, Antoine will tell us how exciting and incredible his experience at the FCA was, right?
Sure.
Désigné volontaire.
Indeed.
Parfait.
Est-ce que c'est pour moi? Merci. I just have to take my notes.
Ah.
So I
Not the same mistake as me.
Yeah. Well, I don't organize. So I'll be, yeah. Thank you. So I'll be very quick, just to tell you that my teammates and I are very thankful for having won the FIDA Consulting Award 2021. It's truly an honor for us to stand here in front of you, so thank you. It has been a great opportunity for us through the course Lancement and Développement de Startup to develop many skills that are definitely going to be useful for us in our professional life in the future. So I would like to thank, so first of all, Yves Darbelay. I don't know if he's here.
He's not there, unfortunately.
Not there, but here. But thank you, because he's our professor since the first year, and so it's been a great inspiration for us, and thankful to him. We had done the internship at FIDAG this summer, so thank you very much. Many thanks to all the people at FIDAG, obviously, and thank you to Sadia and all the HEC Espace Entreprise team. Where is her? Thank you, Sadia. Big clap for her. Thank you, Volumina Medical, for having permitted us to win the prize. Thank you, Amélie, for your kindness. Wish you all the best for the future, obviously. And finally, thank you, Christian Turbet, our consultant. Big clap for him. Well, you know, it's easy to win the prize when you get the best consultant. And I guess that's it. And I wish you all the best for the future. Thank you all for the prize, and see you.
Thank you. Maybe André, you want to say something about the FCA and the importance of having students presenting you the projects?
Yeah, exactly. You guys can hear me? Okay. So indeed, we talk a lot about the Prix Strategis. We talk a lot about the jurors, about the work that the jurors do, which I highly appreciate. I think there's actually a whole underlying foundation that we rely on, that you guys do excellent work on, that we really underestimate, that's maybe not actually visible enough. I highly recommend you take a look at a video by Adam Grant, Givers or Takers. You'll understand what this is all about. But the people really making this possible are the students, and thank you so, so much. You make our lives so much easier. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we will welcome on stage someone who has been really busy for the last 2 years, but who has found time for us tonight. Someone who is also a former HEC student. And this is with a great honor that I want to, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome on stage Mr. Dan Steiner, Vice President, Head of Europe, Middle East and Africa at Moderna.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is an absolute fabulous pleasure to be here tonight. And I would like to thank you, Luis and Alec Doram, who have invited me. At the beginning, I was wondering, well, I'm not sure when I'm going to be that day, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be traveling or not, but I said yes. So once you said yes, it's difficult to go back. So here am I, traveling back from Basel, leaving tomorrow morning back, but I couldn't miss this opportunity. So thank you, Luis, and merci, Alec. The second reason why I'm here is that because I'm also from Lausanne, so when it happened at home, it's also easier to come and to attend than if it would be in Berlin or I don't know where on another place around the world. And the third reason, there is a third reason, that I work for a company which is no more a startup. We must be about 2,000 employees now, but which started 10 years ago with one single man. He was the CEO and founder, and our CEO went through a rough time. I was yesterday with him in Basel, in Bern, so we spent a couple of days together. And when you hear what he went through, he started alone. He just had a belief. He believes that science will make it, and that science ultimately always wins. He had $2 million. That's what he's been able to fund. That was the flagship group gave him. So he said, no, go and run. For the first couple of years, he was running with one person. Then he got our president of research and development who joined, so there were two. So we can at least go and have a coffee together. Then they start being 3 and 4. At the moment, there are about 20 people still fighting. So the scientists who continues to believe on their platform, continues to believe that the messenger RNA is something which will deliver, is something which will bring the next wave of innovation. We are talking about pharmaceuticals, and we are talking about treating diseases and viruses which have not been cured so far, but somebody who had to go and continue to raise funds, because when you are 10, 20, 50, there is somebody's mission to go and to continue to believe, to make people believe that this is the place that you should invest, and this has the opportunity to change the world one day. So the CEO is continuing to do that. So he was telling me last night, we were having a drink, and he was telling me when they were 20, and when he had the head of development, and he told me, imagine, Dan, what we're doing today, we're going to do probably 1 billion doses for this year. And it was one guy who is still there, who was the number 2 employee, who was the head of research and development. So he told me, you talk to one person, and he's the head of development, but actually he develops it all itself. So they're just in a room, so it was, can you imagine what does it mean? And pushing this dream to the extreme where the company is today, which obviously it's no more biotech, it has been able to move into production. And that's what I would like to share with you over the coming slides. Moderna, 1 year ago, probably very few people knew what it was about. So a few people probably know. I think today it has changed. And Moderna is not a new company. For a lot of people, probably, the Swiss government have procured the vaccines. Probably the largest majority is Moderna, which is manufactured in Switzerland, in Valais, in Visp. But probably a year ago, people were not either aware or believe this is a new company. Well, this is not a new company. It's a company which has 11 years. We've been doing research in the same field for 11 years. Our CEO had a belief that the messenger RNA, which is what I would call an information molecule, will work and will help change the world and will help disrupt the industry in which we are, which is the industry of life sciences, which had a couple of, I would say, disruption moments or inflection moments. The first one was the creation of the small molecules. The second one, a couple of years ago, was the biologics, the large molecules. And I believe, and let's wait for a few more years, I believe the messenger RNA is going to be the third one. Because actually what we do today is what is written here. And we just teach the body how to defend himself. So we don't give chemicals, but we just give, like in a computer, you give a software. And you let your body do what he does the whole day, doing proteins. And you help your bodies to recognize, to identify viruses, to identify malignant cells. And you tell him what he does. Go and kill those cells. Go and neutralize these viruses. Create the right antibodies in order to become healthy again. That was how it started. So the way it all started was with, first of all, a promising platform, because this is a platform. Moderna is not a one compound product, it's a platform. The platform, it always works the same way. So whatever we'll do in the future, whatever vaccine or therapeutics, it's always exactly the same way. You're always manufacturing in the same way, with the same people, in the same place, in Visp. So this is something which obviously for startuppers, like half of the audience probably is, it's quite important. Because you're going to go and you're going to raise money, you need to bring something which not only is innovative, innovation is good, but innovation could also be useless or could also be not viable. But you need to bring a promise from the research, from the development, from the commercialization, and from the financials. You need people to believe in your story, and you need to push your story till the end. I would like now to talk to you a little bit about, the phases of our Moderna story. So this is about 11 years, and I'm going to talk to you about where we started, what did we do, what did we learn, and where we are heading forward, moving ahead. The company started, as I said, in 2010 with one person which was granted at that time, some capital investors were giving $2 million. Go run, your story seems promising, we believe that it has a chance. So a lot of companies, the big pharma did never believe. Even recently, one of the big pharmaceutical companies in the top 5 returned us back a product. Returned us back a product that they bought from us. 2 months later, you announced phase 2 data positive, and extremely positive. So it tells you how much still unknown areas, or how much people, there is still an unconscious bias. People believe what they're trained. People believe what they're educated in EPFL, in EPFZ, they're not willing to do. And how our CEO will define our company, Moderna is not a biotech company. Moderna is a technology company which happened to have a biological leg. We're training people, and I'm looking forward, we're going to start soon in artificial intelligence, whatever, because all our products is all done by computer. It's nothing, the man intervention is very little. Because we're too slow, because they are not good enough, because we do too many errors, and because the machine is significantly better. We developed the vaccine against a relatively simple virus, which is not a very complicated one, the COVID-19 virus, within 2 days. From once the Chinese have published the sequence of the virus, 2 days later, we had a sequence of the vaccine, and we're able to move. And guess what? About 1.5 months later, we're ready to get the first doses for a clinical trial that we sent to Dr. Fauci, that you all saw on TV for a couple of months now, a couple of years. So he sends them, so people are completely hallucinating. So I say, how can you do that? Well, how can we do? It's all due to artificial intelligence. We are now modeling, what the next virus or variant is going to be. Because computer can do that. We know how the biology of the virus works. We know that the virus doesn't want to kill the host. If you kill the host, you're over. Game over. The virus, what it wants to infect as many people as possible. Sometimes it happens that it kills a little more. But the one thing that is for sure, he doesn't want to kill everybody, because the virus will die with the person. 2015, a few years later, we started having the first mRNA. That was against the avian flu. So one of these bird flu, which was moving influenza, which moved across the world. We got our first vaccine, so first dosing into human. So people are thinking, well, but we don't have experience. This is started in 2020, I think we started, 2021. The first doses started. Yes, but there is about 6 years before where I've tested that on numerous viruses. That was the first one. The avian flu, we're working with the National Institute of Health in the United States and the CDC, Center of Disease Control, and working hand in hand with them. So we're always looking, Moderna and our CEO, he has about 25 years of experience in infectious disease, and we selected infectious disease. You have to focus on something, because if you try to go too broad, you're not going to catch anything. So we focused on infectious disease for 10 years. Each time there was one of these outbreak of a virus, we said, that's an opportunity for us to try. So that was the first vaccines that we started trying. A little later, we have the first vaccine, multivalent vaccine. You have here maybe in the news that, today we have some variants. The latest one is the Indian, the Delta. The most critical one is the South African. Luckily, it's not spreading very much, which is good. But it's significantly worse than the Indian, but it doesn't spread, so it doesn't become a variant of concern. So the WHO and the various ministers of health are not so concerned, because as long as it stays in South Africa and it doesn't start spreading, that's pretty good. But we believe that, obviously, we are not at the last round of a variant. We believe that it's going to continue to mutate, because there is still just a couple of, 1.5 billion people which have been vaccinated out of whatever, 7 or 8. So it will continue to mutate, and we believe the next mutation might be a combination between the Delta and the Alpha, so which, obviously, we are working today in order to understand how could these these mutations look, and what we should do at that moment against. The multivalent, as you have heard recently, obviously the technology allows you to not only put one sequence of mRNA, but you could we are doing up to 6, and the cytomegalovirus that you'll see in a little while, which is a devastating disease, we are using up to 6 mRNA sequence. So you can actually take the sequence of the variant, of the Delta variant, the Indian variant. You can program the sequence like a software. You can take the sequence of the original, the Wuhan. You can take the sequence. You can take the sequence of the UK one, the British one, and you can integrate those sequences of mRNA, who are actually relatively safe up to something around 100 micrograms. Above that, you'll have fever, you'll have more side effects, so the risk-benefit people will not take it. So the first multivalent vaccine started, already at that time in 2017, and obviously there is a lot of studies with thousands of people which are running on those diseases. I was talking earlier, so that same year, the first cytomegalovirus. This is a devastating disease. Families, women, particularly for mothers which are pregnant, and it's a disease, it's a virus which is outside there. It's the #1 cause of malformation. But not only that, but we realized that there might be relatively start being more and more publications that some of those viruses might become or are eventually the cause of a certain number of cancers or malignancies, which there is start being significant number of publications in the largest scientific newspapers around the world. That was also the beginning of the personalized cancer vaccines. That's another field where obviously we start fighting viruses, which is one thing. But we also believe that one of the reasons why the human body cannot attack and cannot defend itself against certain tumors is that potentially we could develop a personalized cancer vaccine or a personalized cancer treatment, or injecting it and teaching the cells, with the cells that you want from your body, what exactly to do and how exactly you want those cells to identify what looks like a malignant cell and what to do at that moment with your T cells and your immune system. 2018, very important for any startup, and particularly in vaccines. Look around the world today. If you look, first of all, pharma did not make it. So the big companies were just talking earlier on about big pharma is coming with 27 years of big pharma experience, great schools, but definitely it's not entrepreneurial. Definitely it's everything except entrepreneurial. I'm desperate looking for people who have big pharma experience but who have an entrepreneur mindset. It's a very different animal to find, because when you go, you get formatted, you start working only about processes, and you have your brain like this, but unfortunately, your entrepreneur needs something else. You need to be able to operate without a lot of guidance. You need to operate to make decisions without a lot of information. And how do you operate at that moment? And that's a very different skill. In 2018, we built what we call the Moderna Technology Center. That was a combination between development, not research, and manufacturing. Look at a couple of companies, Novavax, Inovio, which if you looked some of those days, they have plenty, you see news, about, well, we have a vaccine in phase 3. It's running for 1 year, but there's still no manufacturing, because to manufacture a vaccine is very complicated. And if you start manufacturing the vaccine only after you develop it's going to take you, a decade to do, and you're never going to be able, or it's going to be extremely difficult to be able to produce on a commercial scale. Well, at the moment, keep on running, the CEOs keep on running, in Zurich, in Boston, in New York, around the world, to attract investors, to present our promise, to present what this company could bring. And each time, first round, second round, A, B, C, D, to continuously feed Every end of the quarter, you might end up when you're a startup, are we going to close the shop or not? So it was every dollar really counted at that moment. You cannot afford to do anything because every dollar counts. And the only place where you need to put the money is in manufacturing and is in development. Obviously, it was beyond. At that moment, you make a choice when you need to go into the stock market because you'll be able to get more money and in an easier manner. That happened in 2018. So that's about 10 years that the company has been, at that moment, we have probably about 20 programs of development on multiple diseases, multiple, cancer, cytomegalovirus, Zika, Epstein-Barr virus, cancer, autoimmune disease, rare diseases, which were running until the moment where the outbreak of the COVID-19 happened. When that happened, again, I come back to, what is that? That is new. No, that is not new. That was 10 years that, vaccines and therapies were running in clinical trials around the planet, most of them in the United States. That is something from Albert Rizzo, Chief Medical Officer, American Lung Association, which is relatively interesting when you see, we used to take, and it's difficult for people to cope. And I like what was just said earlier on. We are training our people from, in a quarter from now, all our employees will have artificial intelligence, ITP. We cannot go behind. If you go behind, you become obsolete. So this guy was telling, it used to take us, 2 weeks or 3 weeks to cross the Atlantic. Now it's taken a couple of hours. It was impossible at that time, but we haven't made any shortcut. It's just the technology that has changed, and it's allowing us to go and have a different path and have a different speed. When I'm thinking about, our history, and I'm going to share now in a few seconds a video with you about how does it work. The video will tell it much better than I tell it. But it's all about, at the beginning, it's about an idea. And it's about somebody has to strongly believe in this idea. And with the conviction, with the science, the scientific idea, and the drive, the energy, the passion to whatever it happened, we will continue, and you put it, he's been able to make it, and he's been able to bring a vaccine in a record time. So remember, this vaccine was done, but without any shortcut. All the studies, a lot of people ask you, well, that was a shortcut. No, nothing was a shortcut versus a normal FDA, EMEA, Swiss Medic, MHRA, FDA, Japan. Nothing. It was just that Mr. Donald Trump he picked up on 3 or 4 technology, 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 4 technology, and he took what is for United States $1 billion, but it's nothing. It's a drop in the ocean where the cost on the economy is trillions of dollars. He gave $1 billion to this technology. I took 2 companies by technology, $1 billion to you, $1 billion to your second technology, $1 billion to you, $1 billion, third, and the fourth one. All of us went with $1 billion from Mr. Trump. Actually, Mr. Trump funded the vaccine for everybody. It is that way. So he gave that, and he said, I'm going to lose it. It's okay. But I make 4 bets on 4 technologies. For a country like United States, $1 billion, it's nothing. It will be rounding. Whatever the cost of the pandemic, it's not going to be billions, it's going to be trillions of dollars. He said, I'm willing to pay, I'm willing to lose, but one of them will make it. And you just need one to make it. If one will make it, it will be enough to cover all the rest. And actually, the rest becomes history.
The most powerful defense against disease has always lived within each of us, our immune system. And now, after a decade of research, Moderna is introducing mRNA-based technology that can unleash the immune system's ability to help fight disease like never before. Here's how. The human body uses mRNA, code-carrying molecules made naturally in our cells, to provide the instructions for life. By harnessing mRNA, we can teach cells to make the proteins we need to help fight disease. The trick is getting the instructions into the cells, because as incredible as these messengers are, they're also incredibly delicate. The breakthrough we needed was the development of lipid nanoparticles, or LNPs for short. LNPs are tiny fatty droplets that carry mRNA safely, like a shipping container. They're called nano for a reason. They're just 100 nanometers across, 1/100,000th of a centimeter. and surround mRNA, forming a protective shell for their journey to our cells. As soon as the LNPs accomplish their mission, they dutifully dissolve and disappear, helping our immune system defend us. Our mRNA technology has the potential to change the way we help prevent and treat viral diseases, cancer, and rare diseases in ways previously unimaginable. It's innovative. It's here, and it's ready to help change medicine as we know it.
As I said at the beginning, 10 years, the #1 area of focus is viruses, infectious disease. We believed, and I remember seeing a video on, I think on YouTube. I'm not the biggest fan of YouTube, but from time to time I got a YouTube, and it impacted me. It was Gates talking, Bill Gates talking about 7, 8 years ago, and she was talking about the next war, which will not be with planes, with tanks, with missiles, and he was mentioning, that was I think in 2006 or 2005, the next war will not win it with the bombarders, with helicopters and with tanks. But it will be, he was mentioning, l'infiniment petit. It will be bacteria, resistant bacteria. It could be viruses. Well, here we are. You know, if you look to what has happened, if you look the cost on the economy, on societies of the pandemic outbreak, I mean, if you just sum it up, probably you'll see that this is significantly more than most of the wars that have happened, probably for a number of decades now. 80 viruses were discovered, more than 80 viruses appeared and were discovered and identified over the last 40 years. But just 3 of them have an identified vaccine or treatment. The opportunity to help is absolutely gigantic, not only in our part of the world, in the Western world, or in the North Hemisphere, but also in the South. Our pipeline, as I was talking earlier, includes infectious disease, rare disease, cancer, all type of therapy. And we believe that the way we look at this mRNA technology, these information molecules, should be able to work in a large number of them. We're just chatting earlier on. I think this startup has 2 choices. It was very binary. We make it or we break it. But it's important, well, probably most of the startup, you make it or you break it. But the difference was that if we break it, we're never going to have anything. But if we make it, we're going to have a lot of products. And I think not a lot of CEOs, I'm not the CEO of the company, I'm the head of this region, but not a lot of CEOs will be able to talk in front of the media and say, out of the 34 development programs that we have today, a number of them will make it. That goes without saying, because the platform, the technology has been proven to work, and has been proven to educate your own immune system to fight and to defend itself. The last element that I would like to say is 4 pillars for a startup. The first one, you have to have something which, if you make it, you bring something of value. You change the world, or you bring something where there is significant value added. If there is no value added, it's not worth to go. Me too, there is enough. Today, in the world that we live in, if I'm talking about the technology world and the life sciences world, there is too much innovation. We cannot even cope with it. Doctors cannot learn. They cannot learn. They don't have time to learn. So people get, how many times I get professors, head of the FDA, can we keep updated with all the information? The Swiss government have task forces of people, scientists, which are just gathering the information. It's almost too much happening, and it's going at such a speed that the human brain is not able. Today, computers treat cancer or provide cancer treatment recommendations way better than what a human being can do. So the world has significantly changed, and the high efficacy promise is the first one. The second one is the speed at which you can bring. Because speed for investors, when you're making any business model, any business plan, for sure, if you need to work for 25 years to bring something, probably is going to be obsolete, or probably not a lot of people have the passion to continue to feed the machine and to continue to bring money to the pump. So you need to ensure that you disrupt with high efficacy, obviously high quality and safety in our industry, and speed. It has to go fast. Manufacturing is essential. We invested about, until the beginning of the pandemic, about $5 billion that we've been able to raise. $5 billion starting from 2 million, and one of the big part of that was manufacturing. You cannot build vaccines and thinking, well, I'm first going to develop the product, and well, yippee, it works. I have my phase 3, amazing results. Oh, let's now go and start how we're going to manufacture that. You're done. it's going to take you 5 years, at least 5 years, because to mass produce vaccines is something very complicated. It's something which takes a lot of know-how. And the last is the efficiency of your capital. So how you know you're going to attract. I'm coming back to this piece, which is the funding, being able to convince, being able to sell the value proposition, because without funding, without capital risk, it's very difficult. And in our country, I'm talking often to people from the economic heads of the cantons, it's absolutely essential. The Boston area is very attractive. The San Francisco area is very attractive for these companies. We have to continue to fight on that way because it's absolutely essential. We don't have oil in Switzerland. We don't have natural resources. We only have rain. So this is something which is absolutely crucial. Those 4 boxes we've been able to achieve. And obviously, that brought us where we are today. I think we believe that mRNA will change everything. We believe the whole promise is around making your own body to defeat the diseases, not bring chemicals. There is no chemicals inside. Our ribosomes are taking those sequences and are just producing proteins. That's what they do the whole day. But we just tell them which protein to do. It's completely biodegradable in your body. It disappears, and it doesn't touch the nucleus of the cell. That has been published, and that has been republished, and it's no more scientific doubts. The last element, I would say, I see this transformation as I said, one of the big disruption in the pharmaceutical industry. As I said, the first one was small molecules, biologics. I think this is the third one. I like to compare it like maybe the world of the analogic and the digital world. There is a moment where you need to jump. Or things that probably a lot of you are still remembering, the Blockbuster and the Netflix. There is a moment where you need to go to pass the next step, and there is a moment where the world is changing. You have 2 choices. You stay on the old world, or you jump in the new one. And you all being here from HEC, you all being I see a lot of faces, young students here, and the 2 who invited me, Alec and Louis, tonight. I think I encourage you one thing. New technology. We are a technology company. I'm not a biotech. It happens that we have a biotech, but everything we put is thanks to artificial intelligence. It's thanks to computing, being able to go ahead of the virus, being able to develop something without touching the virus. A lot of the vaccine, you have to do the virus. You have to reduce what the virus is. You have to add something to the virus. We have never seen a virus. There is no virus in our labs. We've never seen one. It's all done on a computer. So that was what I wanted to share with you. And I wish all the best to all of you preparing and jumping into the world of work. And thank you for inviting me. It has been a pleasure. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. I'm sure that your speech and also the success story of Moderna are a great inspiration for entrepreneurs tonight, but I hope also for future entrepreneurs in the room tonight. So now we will switch to the finalist pitches, and each startup will have 2 minutes to present you their project and to convince you, because after that you will have 1 minute to vote for your favorite project. And the favorite project, thanks to our sponsor La Mobilière, will earn 5,000 francs.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for the very inspiring pitch, actually. Ooh, it starts. So I'm Amélie, the CEO and co-founder of Volumina Medical. We are a technology startup happening to be active in medtech. And no, but really, it was really inspiring, and I changed everything. And we are developing a platform of solutions for regenerating the body, so helping the body to repair itself after disease, trauma, or an accident. What we develop is actually a biomaterial that will be used by plastic surgeons. Our first target is breast cancer reconstruction, so breast reconstruction after cancer. So this biomaterial will be injected by the surgeon in an area needing a new volume of tissue, as you can see on this picture. And this biomaterial will help the body to repair itself, and it will degrade after a while. So it's providing a natural and minimally invasive solution to patients needing a new volume and a new healthy tissue after disease. Our first target, as I said, is breast reconstruction after cancer, to make surgery not surgical anymore and to have it in a minimally invasive way. It's directed at a large and growing market in the field of breast cancer, and 70 plastic surgeons around the world, in US, in China, and in Europe, already validated our product. We have a clear regulatory and clinical path to put this product and the future products on the market. And in the company, we are 10 people, and we work with a lot of ambition and integrity for making this happen for millions of patients every year. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Andreas, co-founder, CEO of DAX Meillan from Zurich. We do functional sleepwear. As we are here to talk about strategy, let's talk about how to spot a strategic opportunity in the market. And let's imagine an oligopolistic market, unaspirational design, lack of technology and innovation, absence of functional claims validation, focus on stationary distribution, discount-led conversion. What is the market I'm talking about? I'm talking about the running shoes 10 years ago. Nike, Asics, no technology, boring design. This was a starting point for a company called On Running Shoes. You might have heard of them. Swiss company, just floated 2 weeks ago at New York Stock Exchange, 10 billion valuation. Quite a success story. For us, quite an inspiration, because the sleepwear market is very similar. You think about Switzerland, it's Kalida, it's maybe 100 or 2 brands. You can go to each market. It's 2 to 3 brands. Very unaspirational, no technology. The companies don't actually understand what the business is they are in. They think they're fashion, they do a bit of textile, but no one understands. They're actually in a sleep. They're a sleep company, they're a well-being company, and this is something that was obviously our opportunity. So when we started, we looked at that and said, okay, there is an opportunity to really bring function into the category of sleepwear, to really make it better, help people to sleep better, and take a scientific approach to prove that this actually works. We're now on the market since 3 years. We have sold more than 200,000 products worldwide. We receive 98% recommendation for the products. We're now the official provider of the Swiss national ice hockey team for our products when they go to their next Olympic campaign. So it actually works. And who will be the next one to float at New York Stock Exchange? Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nicholas, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Neurosoft Bioelectronics. Neurological disorders are some of the most devastating medical conditions that someone can have. Some people can be deaf, they can have blindness, tinnitus, epilepsy, or even tetraplegia. And our mission at Neurosoft is to find new technologies to treat these patients using what we call brain-computer interfaces. Brain-computer interfaces are medical devices, implants, made of electrodes that are implanted at the surface of your brain that can either record brain activity or stimulate with light pulses the brain to treat these patients. And one of the biggest challenges in developing such devices is that your brain is an organ that is extremely soft and that is constantly moving. And so this is why at Neurosoft we have developed a unique platform technology that allows us to manufacture extremely soft and stretchable electrodes, like the one I'm having in my hand here, and you can see on the picture. And it has very unique mechanical properties that matches the mechanical properties of the tissues you're trying to interface with. And so this, thanks to the unique properties, we're able to have devices that can have much better biointegration inside the body. They can provide better long-term benefits in terms of recording and stimulating the brain, and then can lower surgical risks. Of course, developing such devices is a long time. We are still an early stage company, but we're really dedicated in taking as much time as is needed to get these devices to the patients. So, so thank you so much for your attention, and I hope you're as excited as us into the potential of these devices to treat severe neurological disorders and help patients with these huge diseases. Thank you so much.
Hi everyone. 2 minutes is going to be tight, but let's do it. So I'm Dorian. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Backbone, and I'm passionate about art. And 3 years ago, I was discussing with photographers, and there is one number that blew my mind. For 1 hour of photo shoot on site, they spend on average 8 hours of work. And the reason for that is because they spend a lot of time doing very manual, tedious stuff like admin, like manual post-production, editing, transport. And actually, it's exactly the same on the other side. When you're looking for visuals, you are lost in a pool of freelancers. You have to contact 5 different photographers. You have to negotiate prices. You don't even know the quality. And so you see the whole industry is very inefficient. And that's why Backbone was created. We've basically built a platform in order to leverage technology and completely change the way visuals are produced at scale. And so to give you a concrete example, we've, for example, developed a matching algorithm in order to drastically reduce transport and match people who need visuals with the creators. We've also worked on machine learning tools in order to automate the post-production because it's very repetitive. And all in all, when you aggregate all this tech optimization, our technology allows us to reduce these 8 hours to 2 hours, and we're still working to reduce it. And so it allows now thousands of creatives working with Backbone to work even more and allow them to create more visuals. And so to summarize, we are Backbone. We are here because we want to change completely the way visuals are created. We've built a platform. Now anyone in Europe can order a visual in 1 minute on the platform and receive them 48 hours after. So we started 3 years ago. We are now a team of 40 people. And tonight, we need your help to grow even further. Thank you.
Bonjour à tous. My name is Remy Bouza. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Bloom Biorenewables. And as a chemist, which would be my genius zone after you, I came to realize that very few people know actually how dependent we are on petroleum or fossil resources. It's not only the fuel that you put in your car, but it actually, a lot of the objects you have in this room are purely derived from petroleum. And these objects are necessary for our life, or at least as we know it, and it's not going to change. The problem is these products need 13 million barrels every day to be produced. And this has to stop now, because this, in the end, will end up in the atmosphere, and there has to be a transition that has to take place as soon as possible. Now, if you look at what could you take as carbon if it's not fossil, it's very easy. It's either you take it out of the atmosphere with machines, or you ask plants actually to take this carbon, bind it, and that's what Bloom is leveraging. So what we have developed, we are a technology company that happens to make chemistry. We take plants and we can separate them more specifically to actually make products that the chemical industry is needed. And our mission is to help them accelerate reducing their emissions now and permanently. So we need your help and support to accelerate this transition, which is actually a hardware transition. So actually I was scared seeing the level of jobs or the number of jobs that are in the AI and digital, because this transition is not going to be solved by computers. It is a hardware. So we have to actually move these atoms, and that's what Bloom is going to do over the next few years. Thank you for your attention.
Chère mobilière, j'avais à peine emménagé que j'avais déjà rencontré mes voisins.
Quoi qu'il arrive, nous vous aidons rapidement et simplement.
Okay, now we are waiting for the result. So please welcome on stage Mr. Patrick Terrain from La Mobilière, who is sponsoring this prize. Vous voulez dire quelque chose ou pas? Bon, oui, c'est bon.
Bonsoir tout le monde, je ne veux pas vous embêter longtemps. Simplement, on est heureux d'avoir mis ce prix du public à jour grâce à toute l'équipe des étudiants d'HEC qui avec qui on discutait comment trouver une bonne formule. Et vous êtes chaque fois nombreux à venir à cet événement, à voter pour le pitch des startups. Et donc un prix du public s'imposait. Et la mobilière est proche des gens, proche du public. Donc on est content d'avoir pu faire ce mix et win-win. Merci.
Maybe we will need the mic. If you can announce the name of the winner. Tanguy, welcome.
Merci. Donc c'est quand même 5 000 francs. Hein. Le prix du public va à Neurosoft Bioelectronics. Bravo.
You can not sit down yet because we have some gift for you. Want to give? Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Patrick. So now, before we unveil the name of the 3 winners of this edition of the Prix Strategis, I have some acknowledgements to do. So when I became the head of the Prix Strategis, it was in COVID time, and yeah, I had a fear that it will be difficult to raise funds and raise money because, you know, we are volunteers, we are students, and I thought it will be difficult, but thanks to our sponsors, it was the opposite. They have been really supportive, directly responding, and giving us all what we need to do this ceremony tonight and to perform as every year. So a huge thanks to our gold sponsor, Philippe Maurice International, to our silver sponsor, Fidago Titessa. Thank you. La BCV, la Mobilière, to our sponsor, ECA, CVCI, HEC Lausanne, of course, Ville de Lausanne, and to our partners, Infomaniac, Innovation Time Lausanne, Carandache, and Startup Ticker. Thank you very much, guys. And I have to thank some other people. So, for people who don't know these people, this is our student association, HEC Espace Entreprise. We are organizing both the Prix Strategis and the Global Entrepreneurship Week in Lausanne. I was really proud to share 2.5 years with these people that are, yes, I said it before, a bit inexperienced yet, and I say yet, but strongly dedicated and motivated. So thank you, everyone. This is not only my ceremony, but your ceremony. Thank you for your work. I really appreciate it. So now it's getting serious. I'm not sure that Miss Susanna Boll is there tonight. No, so sorry. Maybe I will call up on stage Jean-Philippe last time, because you are also one of our sponsors, and I want you to give also the prize, if that's okay for you. So now, for the second place, I want to welcome on stage Mr. Daniele De Gregorio from Banque Cantonale Vaudoise. So now it's the moment we have all waiting for. The best out of 111 startups. Please welcome on stage Mr. Julien Puydou from Philip Morris International.
Good evening, everybody. Just wanted to say that we've been, I think, now partners for something like 10 years. And year after year, I must say I'm really amazed of the excellent job the students do. It's really professional. They know what they're doing. They're super supportive. And they're really a great team. I mean, I did lettres. I'd say one thing, we weren't half as serious as these HSC people are. And maybe we deserve the reputation we had. So thanks again, and keep on the good job.
Thank you.
Merci beaucoup à tout le jury et je voulais aussi féliciter tout le monde qui était dans la compétition et vraiment partager avec vous le plaisir que j'ai eu de travailler avec le groupe d'étudiants qui a aussi gagné du coup le prix du projet. Et voilà, merci à toute l'organisation pour ce prix qui est vraiment très significatif pour les startups qui démarrent et qui ont l'ambition de devenir les prochains Moderna. Merci encore.
No problem. So thank you everyone for your attendance tonight. I hope that was like fun but also serious, like us students at HEC. I wish you a great night. We have a cocktail party on the second floor. We will be really pleased if you join us there at the cocktail party. I'm just asking a last thing to our jury members. Our last picture was taken 5 years ago, so if you could stay with me on the stage and take a picture. So that's it. Thank you everyone for your attendance and have a great day.